wow.
Oh, that looks like one of your specimens you had. You know, that one that really fans out?
But we're really shallow to be seeing that. Oh, there's another one here. Oh, boy. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
This is a really... there's tons of different genera here.
Do you want to get in the hot seat, mate? You got it? Yeah.
Better.
You have it?
now.
What is this? Now, this is really weird looking. It's hard to see the true branching pattern. I mean, we absolutely have to get it. It's it looks like heteropathies, maybe, but it's got anterior pinnules that there's a lot of anterior pinnules, a lot of lateral pinnules. Maybe if we can grab it and hold it up to us, yeah, that'd be the best. It's hard to get a good view here.
You really get a sense of the current there.
Oh yeah,
It's like waving in the wind.
yeah. Oh, can we put a laser on? Ah, there it is. Okay, so it's about 10 centimeters across, so it's fairly small. But there should be a singular stem that you can grab.
Right there. Stay dark.
Yeah, yeah. Also, it's bent over. Oh, really cool. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, wow. It's really odd.
See how it is?
This looks like nothing.
Bent towards us. Yeah.
It could be the angle, that just makes it look really
yeah.
weird.
Okay.
But so it's got lateral pinnules and then anterior pinnules.
Right.
Yeah, let's grab it.
1A?
Sure. Why not? Actually, can we put it in 3-4?
Do that.
It's nice to throw them all in the back. They kind of have room to spread out. Stretch their arms. Yeah, this is a really weird one. I think it's heteropathies. It's really shallow.
And a shrimp in the middle, maybe?
Yeah.
Getting a shrimp for the bone.
Shrimps love black corals.
Shrimp in for the bargain.
Nice. Perfect. Oh, it's a ray colony. Really excited for this one.
Four shell?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we're grabbing what looks like heteropathies, black coral. It's really hard to tell with the branching pattern. So we're just gonna have to put it in our bio box and look at it later. But it certainly looks odd. So it has these lateral pinnules that come off the sides and anterior pinnules in the front. And the anterior pinnules are really long. So we're not sure if these anterior pinnules change depending on its reproductive status or age, or if it's indications of different species. There's a question about the noise of our equipment compared to no activity down there. Certainly the ROV makes some sounds. It probably scares away some of the sharks. And there's a question about how the current defines the biota. So you certainly find different types of corals, for example, in different habitats. So in areas with really strong currents, you certainly need a coral with a very thick stem. And of course, it's going to be a filter feeding coral. And on the other side of the coin, in a cave where there's no current pushing through, you'll find thinner, more highly complexly branched corals. So in that way, the current will define the type of corals that are living in a given area.
Cool.
Alright, where do you want this rock?
Was there anything else?
Can we look at some of the other?
Bring the porch back in, see what's right here, and then I can move off to the right.
What's the time? Oh, do we have all day?
Yeah, all day.
Oh, boy.
All day until the current says no.
This is exciting. So I'm just going to look at this other coral. So this looks similar to what we just collected, but if you'll... So this one is not as complexly branched, right? The one we just looked at, it had anterior pinnules that were really long. This one just has lateral pinnules. And then looking a little closer, so small anterior pinnules. Can we reach this from here?
Probably not. I can move up to just a second.
Okay, but before we move, we could look at the other
Yeah.
targets. We could look at this.
If you look right here, there's not a whole lot right in front, so I can jump up that I can just access to.
Yeah, nice. Good call. Yeah.
All right, looks like a Parentopathes. You could see a worm run. Yep, so I'll take this opportunity to explain why we're collecting the full colonies. So the purpose of collecting the corals is to better understand the taxonomy and the evolutionary history. So the only way to understand how these different species have evolved is to firstly identify the species based on morphological features, and then secondly sequence the DNA to understand how it has evolved to what it currently is today. We can...
Before I move, just want to take a look at this, just to make sure you don't.
Okay. So the reason why we'll collect the whole colony, not just a part, is because a lot of these corals, especially the black corals, which is one of our focuses, is that the morphological features will vary from the top to the bottom of the colony. Most notably, black corals have skeletal spines. So we're looking at a black coral right now. It has little microscopic spines that are less than a millimeter in height. And they, from the tip to the base, the size, the angle, they can vary. So if you only get the tip, you may think it's species A, but if you had that more information, the entire colony, you'd be able to say, well, it looked like species A at the top, but then it changed as it went down to the base, which would make it species B. And if we don't know for certain what species it is based on morphological features, we may be getting, it may be misleading when we look at how it relates to other species in a phylogenetic tree.
Alright, so interested in that one at all?
No.
And then there was, I still want to move, if there's a few you might want, and I think get that, okay.
So if we move, to just up to that
I'll set up for
plan in between.
Right there?
Yeah, exactly. That'd be great. So going back to how we decide how much of a coral to take. If we're interested in a specimen where the morphological features are consistent from the top to the bottom, we would only take a piece of it, and taking a piece of it does allow the coral to continue to grow. But when working with species like these black corals, we must take the whole thing. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sure what species it is. And there are also morphological features that are only found at the base of the colony. So at the very base, at the basal attachment, the part of the coral that attaches to the substrate, there's called striatum, which are these grooves that occur right above the basal plate. And if you only collect the top of the colony, you can't see that feature. And it might be a very important feature in identifying and separating species. Yep. Okay, so we can grab this guy. I'll just take a zoom in.
3 and 4 as well.
Yeah, please. So looking closely, you could see that it's got lateral pinnules and then slightly shorter, or maybe a quarter of the size of lateral pinnules are these anterior pinnules. So we'll go ahead and grab this.
slightly off the left if you're clean. See it?
And so we've collected a lot of great specimens on this expedition. We have almost 100 corals collected as of today. This, I think, is number 98. And we're nearing the end of our trip. We just have 1 or 2 more dives left in us. So, until it's all over. So we're getting the most out of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to collect deep-sea specimens with such precision. You know, most of the specimens that we collect that are in museums come from dredging expeditions where, you know, they've been broken from just the act of dredging, so you're not sure if what you're looking at is indicative of the species or if it's due to, you know, breaking from whatever dredge was used, whether it's a net or a physical metal dredge. So yeah, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to collect specimens and identify the species and sequence the DNA and better understand the taxonomy and evolutionary history of these various anthozoan groups. Emily has a question. Can you not just do this every day forever?
I'd love to.
I mean, I'll put in a proposal to Schmidt, but they may give us a deadline. They may give us a, you know.
Well, we've
I don't
been
think-
very fortunate. I'm just looking at the dive history on this reef, Tregrosse Reefs or Diamond Islets. This is our 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our 5th dive on this reef. So this is going back to May, June. So we've been very fortunate. We actually know quite a bit about this particular coral atoll. It's a big one. It's 100 kilometres long. There's a lot of ground to cover, but yeah, we've got all different sides of this reef now.
But this is the first time we're collecting on this reef.
Correct. Yeah.
And yeah, just by the looks of it, it's going to be a biology-filled site.
So if anyone was watching the World Oceans Day, that was around about the, I think, 7th or 8th of June, dive 368. We're very close to that dive 368 now, probably only a kilometre or so away from that dive site.
That's the one we just dropped. And then we just were on that big feature for a while.
Yeah,
Ooh, it seems to float. Keep an eye on that guy.
Yeah, the other one floated as well. First one was around there. And then
Once it settles, it settles. Yeah, okay.
It's,
And then just one of these parentopathies will do. Either one, just to the. I'll just look at both. Is that all right? You can grab them both, right, from here?
Yeah.
Is this one easier?
This is much easier.
All right. So, is it a parentopathes or is it a stylopathes? So are the pinnules subpinnulate? That's the question. So do these branches have branches? I'm going to take it on manual zoom. Is this right?
Yeah, we're gonna focus.
Yeah, so this looks like a stylopathid, so genus Stylopathes. So actually, we've only collected, I think, maybe 1 or 2 of these, so this would be really great to get. So we can throw that in the box. Yeah, seems to be a brittle star on the black coral. So these black corals tend to host a wide diversity of associated species. Crabs, shrimps, brittle stars. Fish often use black corals as a means of protection, even reproduction. Some fish will lay their eggs within the skeleton the skeleton of the black coral. So it actually pick the polyps off the stem, lay its eggs inside the spines. So yeah, nice.
Stars not happy.
Okay.
Lovely. That was great.
I'll just hover in the background.
Thanks, Jeremy.
So the Falkor's about 1 kilometre away from Central Diamond Islet, and you can find Central Diamond Islet quite easily on Google Earth. It's nice satellite imagery of it. So from the deck of the ship we can see the islet. It's vegetated. It's covered in birds. In fact, all around us at the moment are seabirds flying, sometimes using the mast to rest. These are frigate birds, different kinds of boobies, so brown boobies, masked boobies, and yeah, so there's quite a lot of activity in the air around the ship.
No, don't lose it. They had an escapee there, Rob.
Weird. I don't know what to change. Maybe the current's calling it? I'll get it in a minute to see if I can. Alright, go run through. And fall. There you go. Clear.
Hey, we're in there. That's good.
Alright.
Thank you very much.
Get that stuff. Good.
Got Adam and Chris, our ROV pilots, assisted by John on the audio desk.
Okay, we'll get back to resume our 1 kilometre survey.
So we on our transect at the moment?
Not yet, we haven't started. That'll kick in.
Transects there? You still got a ways to go. A couple hundred meters.
Halfway, after waypoint 4, Rob. Just keep that in mind.
So you're 200 meters you see before we start.
Right, okay, that's good. So we can continue to drop down and explore and sample and prior to that.
Yeah, so typically we plan out about a kilometre transect, and like in total, the whole ROV dive is about a kilometre horizontally, and then we put this 500 metre standard distance transect somewhere along that 1 kilometre line. And in this case, we've planned our transect towards the reef. We'll just see how well we go as far as wind and current conditions. It is a little windy at the moment, probably around about 15-20 knots. Nothing that the ship can't handle. But yesterday's difficulty was really to do with the currents working against the ship while the wind was pushing the other way.
Yep.
You can see the inset multi-beam mapping view against the LiDAR shallow water mapping that was done by the Australian Hydrographic Office just a few years ago, so it's all fairly recently collected. But you can see we're that's kind of the fisheye view. As we're going to be moving towards the shallower reef, it'll then rise up quite steeply, and you can see these large blocks and things. So we've just gone over an example of that, and these blocks are quite a feature of all of these reefs out here. They've basically, parts of the shallow reef have collapsed and fallen down into the deep water, and they're just stranded around the edges around all of these reefs. So there's a good view now, and they're quite large blocks in some cases. We found some of these blocks to be a few kilometres long, and they've got like a karst-like environment on them, caves. Looks like a ctenophore just drifting past, caves, and they're very well sculpted, so clearly show that at some point they were above sea level and they were eroded just like a cave system, and those pieces have broken off and they're now sitting down here on the seafloor.
Brilliant, Charlie. That's not updated waypoint for me. Updated waypoint. Thank you, sir.
So similar seafloor to what we saw yesterday. Lots of these ripples fall within this collective term bed forms, and bed forms can take many shapes. You can go the large scale, they're dunes, and then you have ripples as finer scale bed forms over the top. And what we're seeing is fine scale bed forms here. Each one of these little ripples are only about 10 to 15 centimetres across. But we have come across some of the larger dunes as well. It all indicates high near seabed currents, doesn't it?
That's right, and we can tell right from this present orientation that we're flying along that we're travelling in the direction of the current that these ripples have responded to and formed under. And that's based on the fact that you can just look, each ripple crest, the steep side of the ripple is currently facing away from us or to the top of the screen. And it's a continuous blanket of this fine to medium sand, 100% bed form coverage. So this is telling us we have a consistent, probably almost 100% operating flow at the seabed to sort the sand and build these ripples. There might be some slight reversing of direction with each tide. So
and I guess cobble or boulder debris in amongst it. Very likely just pieces of coral that have rolled off the shallower reef.
Some of our previous sites like here could be going home to get us actually to go work and like sit in the lab or the office and work through all the stuff that they did. Is that what you guys have to do as well?
I'm afraid so.
Peons for that.
Yeah. Oh, we have a bit of both. We have labs at GA. We have labs that will, there's a team of staff that can do some of the sample processing for us. But other samples will go to Sydney Uni and have
That's right.
colleagues working on them.
Yeah, the samples go everywhere. Ultimately, they'll go all around the world. I mean, we're doing this even while we're on board here. The physical samples will all be registered at in the museums, the Queensland Museum in Brisbane, and also the Museum of Tropical Queensland in Townsville. So they're all the coral samples. In turn, they will be sent to experts around the world. We've got lots of imagery, so that's the easiest way to share. That's what we've been doing on board, is sending photos to experts around the world, say, what is this? So we can get a tentative idea on some of the animals. The rocks and sediment will go to Canberra, to Geoscience Australia, and also University of Sydney. University of Sydney will probably take care of most of the fossil rock material that we've collected. But we can do an awful lot with all of these rocks. We can do age dating, look at the provenance or origin of them, and look at the composition that make up the rocks. Similarly with the sediments, we can do the same.
Getting a bit of a sense of a larger bed form, I think, coming into view now.
Yeah, we were talking about scale before. Bed forms are this collective term, but you think of all the different shapes that can be created in different scales. So at the moment we're going over a series of parallel dunes. They're pretty big. They'd be a good maybe 5-6 meters across. And then superimposed on top of that are these finer scale ripples. So it is a bit like a beach, and when you walk along the beach you might think there isn't a lot of life there, but of course a lot of that life is buried in the sand. Worms like polychaetes and the like, fish do it. There's always lots of mollusks, gastropods, snails, bivalves and the like buried in the sand. There definitely is life there. It's just not so obvious when you're in these high current mobile sand areas. Like this is not a classic area where you find lots of soft corals attached, because they need something hard to attach to. I guess that's why I like coming across these boulders, because they're like islands in the middle of the sand, and this is where we're finding all of our black corals and the like.
There's something, got a sand dollar down there. Coming up to waypoint 3.
Yeah, so just talking about the ROV for a moment, we were looking at the weight. It's 4,500 pounds, which is about 2 tons. That's in the air. Of course, down here it's neutrally buoyant. And I'm counting 10 cameras, of which you're only seeing one, the science camera directly in front of us. So we've got cameras all around the ROV, looking at the umbilical cable from above, directly down above. In fact, literally every quadrant of the ROV has a camera pointing to it, so you can get a good sense of what's happening around. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing piece of technology. Our forward-looking sonar, which is scanning ahead of us, and we can actually see beyond the limit of the visibility here, is showing, looks like another rock coming into view, just on the right side of centre screen. There we go. There's a scanning sonar, so that's scanning about 80 degrees either side. So even if this was completely murky, so murky that you couldn't even see with your camera, the sonar will still tell us what is coming up. So it's really useful for, let's say we're hunting for rocks. We can actually see where those rocks are, and we can steer the ROV towards them. You can just see the rock coming into view now.
There it is.
But we've actually been watching it for quite a while on the scanning sonar.
And again, we've got quite a bit of scouring around where the current has eroded around the edge, creating a little moat around this boulder. And yeah, concentrations of probably gravel.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, the rocks almost act like an airplane wing. You imagine the currents come along, they hit the rock and they accelerate over the rock. So it's not a good place for deposition, but a good place for erosion. And so you can see how the current has come in and it's scoured everything in front of it, and then there's all this gravel. The gravel is probably also like biota that's grown on it and has now fallen down, and it's just accumulating at the base. But you can see all these black corals popping out into view. And even where the currents are actually gone up that little gully and leaving bed forms on the sand behind. This looks like a stylasterid to me.
The white one?
Yeah, they tend to be, if it's hard.
Is this the one that Muskay's interested in?
Yes, I believe he is. Yeah, if this is a stylasterid, it's a hydrozone coral. They're hard. They tend to be this white.
Yeah, close look at that.
Whitish, very delicate looking.
We'll have a close look at this face. Thank you. That's a good spot.
Oh, is that a Nautilus just over here? Nautilus shell? Yeah,
I think
it's a Nautilus shell. You can see the striping on it.
It's not living.
No, it's dead. It's quite eroded. Okay, so imagine this face. This is like a small reef habitat. So lots of animals are using it to attach to, and probably these big clasts that we see here in the sediment have broken off. Yeah, you can actually see. It looks like shells underneath. Yeah, there's some scallops. I see a scallop shell here. And I can't quite make out what that is, but yeah, I actually like picking up sand and trying to figure out what made it. You know, when you're walking along a beach. My kids roll their eyes when I do this. Yeah, right, Dad.
They're taking it in.
Yeah, I can see bivalve pieces, gastropods. Because it's something quite different to do it at 430 metres down. This is really feel very spoiled. That's not a stylasterid.
Okay.
No.
What about the black? What are the black ones?
Interesting. Yeah, it looks like an octocoral.
Soft coral.
Yeah.
I saw one earlier, but other than that, I've never seen them before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean these yellow ones, these are clearly cup corals, but these black ones, they look like an octocoral to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just a cold water coral of some kind, but it's not a stylasterid. Let's have a look at we've got a Nautilus shell just underneath the rock here. This is Nautilus country. We could potentially see one. We're deep enough for daytime.
Bright yellow.
There it is. See it down here?
Yeah, down on the seabed.
Yeah.
Okay, come around. Is it some
and we got
glass
some
sponge, maybe?
Some more cold water corals up here. Is that a brittle star or a Brisingid sea star? It's a little pink one on the side. Yeah, you can actually. Would you do this for me, please, Chris?
Yes.
Go in there, please, and pick up that Nautilus shell and hold it up to the camera, and you can see the chambers really well.
All right. Let me just come out a little dust cloud out of here first.
Yeah, it's a bit. So we're just going to move forward and plonk ourselves down here and see if we can pick up this Nautilus shell. It's quite eroded, but the outermost shell has exposed the internal chambers. We'll have a closer look at it.
Alright, we're going to put this Nautilus shell. Just on the corner. It's right to the right side. Sorry, to see it.
There it is. Yep. Yeah, that's
very eroded.
Yeah, that's nicely opened up. So we can have a look at that just to show everyone what that looks like. Some glass sponges here above that coral.
White, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this yellow one looks like Madrepora oculata. It's got this zigzag shape about it.
Quite a few sand dollars down there, Rob. I'm looking on the...
Yeah. And we saw a living one yesterday. Do you remember?
Yeah, crawling along.
I like looking at them close up.
Good habitat for them in the clean sands, but then they die and they get washed into these lag deposits, we call them.
Yeah.
Gravel lags.
Yeah. And here's a big piece of gravel. It used to be a Nautilus. Oh, really eroded. Okay,
It's been there a while.
Yeah. If we're just going to see if we can pick it up and just bring it in closer to the camera so everyone can see. Oh, this round one, that's a Cycloclupeus. That's a benthic foram, a large benthic.
Okay.
Oh no, you're right. No, it is actually an urchin. Sorry.
Okay, go for that. Yep. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's about that piece is about 5 centimetres long. There we go. Thanks very much, Chris. Yeah, if you just tilt it sideways. Of course, the animal lives in just the outermost chamber, and as it grows, it creates these individual layers, right? And so it slowly grows. So even as a baby, it would pop out as this miniature version of this, and over the course of its life, it just makes a new chamber. Now, I don't know if you can actually, if you can just tilt it, there is actually what we call a siphuncle, and it's like a pipe that joins each one of these chambers. Now it's broken here, but you can see that little bump in the middle. That would join onto the next chamber inside, internally as it goes through the coil. And if you look on the right-hand side, there's a hole. That's where that siphuncle would actually attach to. So this way they can actually operate to use all the different chambers of the shell to adjust the buoyancy so that they can move up and down in the water column. Very, very clever. They're just able to change the density of the water within each of these chambers, and they vertically migrate up and down a couple of 100 metres each day. So in the daylight hours, they're down in these depths. At night time, they migrate up to around 200 metres or so to feed, and then as the sun rises, they migrate back down again. But they use these chambers like the buoyancy vest like a diver would use. Thanks, Chris. Adam, can you just twist it over and let's just have another look at the view? Yeah. Yeah, quite eroded. But yeah, there's the chambers, very, very obvious. And you can see where the tube joins would have joined if this was fully intact. Yeah,
That's great.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll leave that behind.
Yeah, that'll be Hermit Crab's home or something like that. So we'll leave it here. Yeah, terrific.
Look at that, delicately placed back on the seabed. Right in the gravel layer too. That's for the next ROV, won't get confused.
You see that round one right there? Just on the tip of
What you got?
right in behind my jaw there.
Yeah, we're pretty sure it's a sand dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, there's lots here.
Version of that for Australian dollars.
Yeah. So there's a few fish about, and if any of the fish people are watching, we appreciate getting some names to faces here. Got Gemma on board. She's a fish person, of course, but we're all having lunch pretty shortly, so we're just taking turn about here. But we can see glass sponges. These are these white masses just above that yellow coral. I'll just have a bit of a wander around here.
Yeah, that's right.
Side. What's that do? Diana Ross. Was it Diana Ross? It is Diana Ross. Ben heard chimichanga. What was your lunch, buddy? Was it good?
Yeah, it's good. Steak and lobster, fish and turf. Surf and turf.
Surf.
Wow.
So our insert shows us that fisheye view. We're looking up the slope, and we've just been very slowly cruising along over mainly soft sediments, bed forms with ripples and dunes, with the occasional rock outcrop. Now, when I say outcrop, these are really just large boulders or pieces of the shallow coral reef which have tumbled downslope. And all of these very large reefs in the Coral Sea Marine Park have got this feature where the edges of them are broken off over a long geological time, and here they are stranded on the seafloor. And we're just slowly working our way towards the shallower reef, which is only it's only about 1 kilometre away from where we are.
Definitely got an incline, I think, coming in. We're just coming out of that hollow around the rock. Read that.
Something big and black there.
Sorry, I gotta take a look at something.
Oh, you saw something? I thought you did.
What's that? It's quite large.
There's in between that rock and then there's that thing.
Ah,
Okay.
Oh no.
okay.
Thing.
It's a thing, yeah.
It's not a nice thing. It's too nice.
Are these it's netted?
Yeah, but it looks, it might be, is it the internal structure? It's just
It's
a skeleton.
Remains, isn't it? It's not growing there.
Oh, so it's nothing cool.
Oh, there's lots of shrimp here. Have a look. There's shrimp all over it in that little crack.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shrimp party.
If you look inside the crack, there's like a bunch of weirdness going on.
Yeah. All of these are shrimp.
All the way up here as well.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, okay. Little microhabitat.
Oh, yeah, look, the whole wall is covered in them. Let's stick our head in this crevasse and see. Jeremy?
Wow.
Look at that.
So the shrimp party?
Shrimp party. Woohoo! Very cool. God, look how dense they are.
This just shows you how important these boulders are for providing habitat
Yeah, yeah.
and the microstructure.
Fantastic. Oh, look how many there are. We only got a glimpse. It was just sort of like its change of colour, you know, looking at that against the crevasses we were drifting past.
Look like a
Shrimp up in this guy.
more in there.
They're like,
Oh my God, look at that.
it's nice, quiet, dark, and
Wow.
these guys come around.
There are hundreds of the guys in there. Imagine. And a soft coral to boot.
Yeah. Yep. Nice one. Look at that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
well, that was
Pretty good.
Food to geology, fish and biology.
exactly
Are they
geology.
using this as shelter so they don't get blown off in the current?
Yeah, imagine. Yep.
What is that?
And there's a lot of food flying around.
Yeah. Because lots of animals eat shrimp. They're
And
tasty for octopus and fish and all sorts of things. So,
Sure.
good place to hide out during the day. Oh, what's this? What's that? Is that a nudibranch? Just on
zoom
the
in?
on the left.
Zoom in.
Where'd that go?
Oops.
Really go get them.
Oops.
Looks like a nudibranch. Or some small sea cucumber.
I'll pass that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You can see its internal
Organs
organs
in
there.
there.
All right.
Okay.
Let's have a look at our shrimp.
There's our strip again.
That's a good view.
Zoom into those guys.
Yeah.
See how close we can zoom. Oops.
It's on auto zoom. Perfect. Funny looking guys.
Because when you're scuba diving at night on the Great Barrier Reef, this is often what you see, these little green eyes staring out at you, because
Okay.
there's a lot of them, but during the
Yeah.
daytime they're hidden in nooks and crannies. It's not until you go out at night time with a flashlight or a torch that you can actually see. There's a lot of them, aren't there? Do you do much nighttime diving?
Yeah, it gets very cold at night. I don't enjoy everything that comes along with the night dives, but you often see things that you don't see in the daytime. You see, octopus and
The odd shark,
yeah.
a few sharks, but often shrimp. Right, this is what I notice the most when I'm night diving, because their eyes reflect so well.
All right, let's get
Terrific.
Hey, that's a good rock to stop on.
I believe.
Are we transecting? Not yet.
Not yet, no. We're on transects after waypoint 4.
Okay, we got a bit more
A
time.
bit more time to search and explore and potentially sample.
Is it glass sponge there?
But I might
Yes, there's definitely glass sponges. They were the white ones. We've seen a few of them now. But I like all the rocks had this sculpted look about them, so they would have been exposed to the sea level at some stage when they were first formed, and have now rolled down slope. You gonna eat something to eat? Yeah.
If you eat it all.
All right. I'll see you.
That way? Sure. Look at the fish the whole time. Didn't even know.
Ooh, interesting fish. There we go. Very cute. Look at the shine on it. It's really amazing.
Who thinks Jared is it? Can catch this fish?
Good. Caught a bunch of fish.
Some more black corals.
So Scott's just ducked out to get some lunch here. We're on this dive all day, all afternoon if we can. We'll just see how the currents go because that we had to call it off early yesterday because the currents weren't favourable. But we'll stick this out as long as we can. We've got Jeremy from James Cook University and myself also from James Cook University, helping to interpret what we're seeing. But of course, a lot of things here, this is first for us and we have to just make some guesses. So we do appreciate people ashore helping us identify some of these animals and making sense of what we're seeing out here in the Coral Sea Marine Park.
As long as we identify things with confidence, I think that's what matters, right?
Yeah. Of course, we get it wrong, and this is why we reach out to experts. Like at the end of each dive, we say, "Oh, we don't know what this is," and so we try and find a name or a paper that someone who's an expert, and we send them photos, images from the dive through the night. So by the time the morning comes, we're a little bit more educated as to what we're finding.
The soft coral, maybe a sponge.
Bridge, are we control?
What's this purple thing?
Okay, Bridge. Hello, Luke. Hello. Got a bit of wind for you. I see that. Thank you.
This looks like a bit of turtle shell,
You mean a scoot?
like a scoot. Can we just pick that up, please, if that's possible?
But the pattern isn't like any sea turtle.
Yeah, but it's got that clear look about it.
Yeah. What could it be? Maybe a big
Bit of shell, just a bit of shell that's broken.
I'll zoom out so we can settle down.
I'm on second over.
If it's thin and a little bendy, I think it's turtle. That's what. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We should collect it.
Okay. Let's collect it. Let's collect it. Okay. So I have a little story to tell.
Go for it.
We have on the Great Barrier Reef. There's a place called Rain Island. It's the world's biggest green sea turtle rookery, and at times up to 20,000 green turtles can nest on it at night, which makes for a lot of biomass coming in. And so this attracts tiger sharks. And for many years now, we've been talking about getting an ROV and having a look around what's in the depths around Rain Island to see if we can see any remains of turtles. And I approached Jenny Gilbert, who runs the Turtle Rehabilitation Centre in Cairns, a real expert on turtles, and I said, what would remain of a turtle that's been chewed by a tiger shark? And she said that the bone, of course, all the flesh would be eaten pretty quick. The bones would be eaten very quickly. One of the few things that would remain would be the scutes that cover a turtle's shell, and they're very thin. They're made of the same material that make up fingernails, and of course they grow. They're organic, but the structure of them allows them to preserve a bit more. Now, this looks to me like the scoot of a turtle shell.
And we have an expert we can contact.
Yes, we do.
Once we get it back on land.
Yeah.
Where would you like to put it?
Oh, we could do it in 3-4. No?
3/4 floating. We'll try it.
Yeah.
If it's something that can run away.
So 1A, is anything in there?
None of them anyway. Well, we'll put it in 3/4. It's just we have to
Be mindful.
discuss it first. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And of course, there are turtles out here in the Coral Sea. They use the cays for nesting, and also the reefs just for feeding on. And we've got Dean Miller with us. Now, Dean spent many, many years out diving in the Coral Sea, and he also thinks it might be the scoot of a turtle, which means that it's probably been chewed by a shark. Yeah.
Or it shed it off, because they do shed with age.
They do shed, yes. But it has this kind of rigid, they're slightly floppy, but also a bit rigid. So anyway, we'll be able to tell very quickly once we get it back on board. Here we go. Julia Summerling's on. There were remains of turtle shell that have been on the sand at Cod Hole since 2014, which I find occasionally now, and that's good to know. But yeah, going back to the Rain Island, we've always wanted to put an ROV down and just see if the seafloor is covered in, I guess, the scoots of turtles, because they've been nesting in there for thousands of years, and they go to this one place, and there's a lot of them die from being attacked by a tiger shark. So it would be incredible to see them on the seafloor. And here we have, I think, the remains of a turtle on the ground. That's my hypothesis anyway.
I just don't know what pattern, what species would have that pattern. I just can't see it in my head, but we'll get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, but out here we have greens. There are, let's see, the hawksbill.
You even have leatherback.
The leatherbacks do travel through these waters, but they're in rare numbers. Like they're on these big migration paths. Loggerhead turtles is another one that come through here. So there's a range of different turtles, sea turtles that use this area.
I think 6 out of the 7 species can be found in Australia.
That's right. I mean, there's even more on the Great Barrier Reef. Like there's the flatback turtle. They only nest and live right along the beaches of Great Barrier Reef. We're further out, of course, so we are talking more likely green, loggerhead, possibly hawksbill. They're sort of the main suspects. Anyway, it's just funny that I've been talking with Jenny Gilbert about this. Is it possible? And I think we may be looking at our first piece of turtle. And here we go. I guess this is also showing the current that we got here. This coral just tumbling over the seafloor.
A lot of corals. A lot of black corals here. Could we just slow down for a second? Look at this yellow coral, bottom right of the screen. We don't need to settle down. I'll just take a zoom in to the right here. So we're still looking for this other genus of unbranched black coral, Sauropathes. We've collected a few Stichopathes. And so what we're looking for here is if the polyps are in rows around the entire stem, as opposed to being in one row on the stem. Oh, no, it looks like Parentopathes. Sorry for the shaking screen we're hitting around. I'll just zoom out so you don't get seasick. Okay, yeah, we keep going. We've collected a few Parentopathes on this trip. So lots of corals. Really.
Yeah, we're getting closer to the reef, and you'd expect that the sand would start to disappear, and we're getting more rubble. Our scanning sonar is showing, bigger blocks coming into view. It's not so sandy anymore. There's definitely more rubble. Here's our scanning sonar inset. You can see the rock, as the larger rocks have got a shadow behind it. That tells us very clearly it's something that's sitting up above the seafloor.
and we're slowly coming up to it, right? So that white rock, and this is in the sonar with the shadow behind it. This is the rock that's right in the middle of the vision at the moment. And of course the rocks are where we're more likely to find Jeremy's black corals and shrimp parties and whatever else is going on today.
Oh. Okay.
Got something in the rock?
Yeah. Got a soft coral, like a leather coral. It's a bit deep, isn't it?
It's like an anemone. We've seen a few of these black, they look like octocorals to me, but they've got this dark colour on them. Sponge above it, do you think?
Right, so it's a sponge, okay. Yeah, okay, we can skip that. It's a crab. Like another Parenthopathes or Salapathes, little black coral. So you're getting these bottle brush morphology corals here. And when we see them, we tend to see them in abundance.
Fish.
Little fish here.
There is a fish.
Yeah. Would it be a goby, perhaps? We got any fish experts watching? Looks a little bit like a goby to me. Oh, there's a sea cucumber just to the right of it. Just a small one. Haven't seen too many sea cucumbers. It's not that kind of environment for them. They tend to be a more muddy environment. Yeah, I've got a few people saying gobies, and of course if you're into the fish world and gobies, there's probably more gobies than any other species around, but because they live in holes and burrows, they're very, very hard to find. But you know, the goby specialists will say there's just more species of them than just about anything else.
Wow.
Got some current, but it's not too much of a pain for some of the skills like you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Cody.
You did amazing.
Thank you, Chris. Now we have Ben.
Well, updated waypoint bridge. Thank you. Thank you.
So just an ROV crew changeover. We got Cody and Ben as pilots, assisted by Viet in the audio seat.
I'll just take a quick zoom in of this branching coral here. Is it dead hydroid taken over by zoanthids? Is that a little anemone on the top? Yeah, it looks like it's been taken over. Sad looking coral. Okay. Ooh, we got an interesting structure coming up. Probably a really long, maybe thin rock cutting across the left side of where we're heading.
Yeah, so this is just looking in our scanning sonar. It's coming into view. Or it could be just the top of a ridge as we're coming up over a crest. It's definitely becoming more bouldery, isn't it, there, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Yeah, bright yellow is hard returns, so it's going to be hard.
It's going to be hard.
Hard. Yep. So most of this is hard rock with boulders scattered over top, and then a thin dusting of soft sediments.
So we're now at 438 meters, and it's 10.2 degrees Celsius. Got more black corals.
And we're still within the Nautilus zone, so keep your eyes peeled.
How many are we at now?
None live on this dive, just one dead coral.
Does that count?
Not really on the Nautilus meter. No, it's got to be live.
All right.
Oh wow! Look at this nice wall. Yep.
I'll look up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty bare. From here, it seems.
You want to get close to it, then you'll back on.
You see how it scours? Like the currents are scouring around the edges. All of these big rock boulders at this depth have this characteristic eroded look about them. Like it's a karst environment, very sculpted. At some point, these would have been exposed to air above sea level, and as
White Mountains, guys?
Sure.
when they break off, they they've rolled down slope into these deeper depths, and making lots of nice nooks and crannies for animals to live in.
Like this encrusting sponge. Or is that a bryozoan?
Don't know.
It's got that. Probably a sponge. Go up. Sure.
Just hit this real.
It's huge. The end is something like that. Oh, yeah, so much.
Yeah, good.
I'm allergic to them. I'm allergic to sea round. That's right. Yeah. Did you see the turtle?
Yeah, you think that's what it's doing?
It's a scoop. So the organics, the bones, they dissolve, they get chewed up, and all that remains is like the scoops which you may well think they're more resistant. It looked like
I would say that the colour is very fresh.
well, I don't know, Hawksbill have been hunted for years because
There's a bit of a cave here.
a
lot of marine snow passing by.
Okay.
Right.
Look up.
Close to starting the 2,000.
Look down.
No, I'm going to go down.
Okay. A lot of marine snow making it hard to see. Ben, can you do something about this marine snow? Can you? That's okay. Pretty hard to see inside. That's right.
Hey, Jeremy, if you want to go look at my arm real quick.
Right?
Yep. Come right down. And just zoom in on that SuBastian over.
Yeah, I gotcha.
That wiped out before.
Yeah. Yeah, we were zoomed out looking at a few different things. All right.
Now that's loose.
That helped. I'll just center myself. Yeah, it looks a bit better now.
Yeah.
It's like night and day. Yeah, it still looks too much. Okay. Anemone in the rock hole there.
See something?
Nah.
I don't know.
Crab? Yes.
See that one?
Nah. We're not a crab kind of crew. So we're looking here at bivalves, discarded, left behind, broken bivalves, holes. Yeah, sure. Little, what seem to be soft corals or, yeah, probably soft corals. Okay, we're just resting this rock. Some more holes in the cave here. Nothing much in the hole. Big cliff. Ben, where's all the good stuff?
It's waiting for the transect.
Oh. Yeah. No one's gonna be happy if that's what happens. We could blame Rob, I think.
good enough for me.
Virtual offshore static plane.
What's coming?
Or rock for a while, I'd say.
Well, we picked this location for Scott. He's a rock guy in Marty.
Marty,
Marty, yeah.
He's a bit too deep on that, Marty.
They didn't care about the Jeremy.
Yeah, no,
Jeremy's turning into a rock dog, don't you worry.
I am not. I've certainly collected coral in this dive. I'm happy about already.
You click to sediment, Jeremy, there's no going back.
You think we have this is a cup coral. It doesn't look like the flamellar merge though. What do you think?
So now,
That's a dead.
Yeah, the one below is dead. But it'd be challenging to get this one, wouldn't it? You're kind of on that.
with a suction, yeah.
Go grab it.
Let's wait for one that looks more typical of the target cup coral.
Yeah.
Coming up. Going up. Oh yeah, some better looking cup corals. Yeah, you. That's a sponge. Not even a cool sponge, it's a boring sponge.
Everybody knows that.
Some fish on the left.
Julio, you have a question from Faith X. What is the difference between a boring sponge and a cool sponge?
Well, the difference between a boring sponge and a cool sponge, in my opinion, I think a carnivorous sponge is really cool, and the siliceous, the glass sponges are really cool. So to me, those are cool sponges. Then a boring sponge is the normal peripheral shallow water sponges. In my humble opinion, Some sponges and some corals are just cooler than others.
Is there anemones on the right there? What is that? Just sunflowers.
Maybe anemones, zoanthids. I can't really tell anymore. I used to think I knew. Yeah. Right. There are also boring sponges that actually bore into the ground, so I probably could have started with a joke. Okay, we're still coming up this rock. It's really, really high, really tall. So the goal's, what's the shallow depth?
150?
To 150, so we're at 400 meters now, and we'll go up to 150, and we've got all day to do it. There's a question about finding carnivorous sponges, and the answer is yes. We've collected a few carnivorous sponges, and they're really cool, obviously. Really, we found small carnivorous sponges. We've sent images to Merrick Ekins, the sponge curator at the Queensland Museum. So he'll be able to work on them, and he's in Brisbane, and when we're going to dock in Brisbane, so I'll be able to hand off all the sponges to him, and then he could work on them. Last year we did a similar thing, and he ended up finding undescribed species of carnivorous sponges, so there's a chance we could do the same this time around. Yeah, we found carnivorous and glass sponges, a lot of them. So it's exciting.
ROV Bridge. Hey Luke, I'm just waiting for your call. What's going on?
Just to let you know, we're just slowly inching our heading over to port, so we'll probably end up somewhere just pointed directly east 090-ish, but doing it very slowly.
Yep, that sounds good, brother. How's that current treatment?
Pretty strong. We're seeing the 0.9, yeah, kind of a knot-ish setting west.
Yeah, I started feeling your rev up and I'm prone to dust. I saw it. All right, just give us a shout if you need anything else from us. We'll keep a tight tether and monitor it as well.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Luke.
Keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, the carnivorous sponges are really hard to see. Some of them are really big, but a lot of the species, most of the undescribed species, are really small. When we were dredging the Coral Sea last year for rocks and corals, we found really small, like less than 5 millimeters in height, carnivorous sponges on a rock. And luckily, we noticed it before the rock was scrubbed, and that ended up being a new species. And on this trip as well, we found, at the time we didn't know what it was, but we collected it, and it turned out to be a carnivorous sponge. I think it's Abyssocola. I think that's the genus, something like that. So yeah, we get lucky with the carnivorous sponges. You know, it looks something like a carnivorous sponge, but they could vary in morphology, so it's hard to always tell. So yeah, when in doubt, grab it, show it to the expert, and they could tell us what it is. Is that a siphonophore? Maybe.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Looks like a coral.
Oh, no, it's attached.
Oh. Look at you.
Black coral. Might be a bamboo.
All right, let's see what it is. There goes Cody.
Just good timing, too. Just before our 500.
Yeah, all right, let's check it out. So, the question is it a black coral? Yes, it is. Oh, wait. No, it's not. It is not a black coral. All right, I think we're up with the bamboo coral.
Cody got it.
Cody was able to identify it from so far away.
Call me Dr. Cody from now on, sir.
Not professor?
I like doctor. That's something sounds more sophisticated.
If we look at the base, we could maybe see or is it just covered in zoanthids? Oh boy, I don't know anymore.
I'm gonna kill one of these lights here.
Yeah, okay.
See if we can get a better one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's better.
So now I'm thinking it's just covered in zoanthids. I don't know if James is on, our resident zoanthid expert. We'll try to get a... Yeah. My money's on zoanthid. What do you guys think? Because if it was a bamboo, you would see the bamboo somewhere. This is just covered in... maybe there's zoanthids. All right, we'll get past this. We can look at the next one behind it, which might have more telling features. So now you can see lots of corals, really small corals covering the floor in front of it.
And after we get that coral, we'll add the transect start.
Okay. So we'll just collect 15 to 20 corals before we start. It's a whole fear of missing out kind of thing.
It's the same to me.
So you can see all the little corals, really small corals, except for these big whip corals, which okay, we're just gonna settle down. So James is asking on YouTube, was the small sample a few dives ago a hydroid or carnivorous sponge? So it's got like a circular disc on top and appendages coming around the outside like a sun. And if that's what you're referring to, we think it's a carnivorous sponge. We haven't heard back from Merrick, but looking at the literature, yeah, we think it's a carnivorous sponge. And just a quick look at this guy. Looks the same. So maybe zoanthids. But while we're here, we could just take a look at some of the other things on the ground before we start our transect. Because once we start the transect, I'm gonna leave the room and close my eyes.
You don't have to leave.
Just leave the room.
You don't have to leave.
It's just clear.
We can stop for walls, we can stop for amazing white coral.
Yeah, we don't stop for anything on our transects, so. That's a fleshy cup coral there. Can you reach this, or is this too far?
Yeah, I can reach it. Zoom up.
You want it?
Yeah, why not?
Take it.
And you could throw it in BioBox 1A with the turtle shell. Not sure.
Yeah, none of us.
Zoom in, yeah, I gotcha. So this is solitary scleractinian cup coral. Of course, azothelate. Most of the scleractinian corals that you see in the shallows use sunlight as energy, but not these guys.
Still happy on the page.
Oh yeah, a little sea star right next to it, really small. You can see the tentacles retreating inside the colony.
Just out of my reach. Oh, wait.
I think you knocked it over, which is fine. Yeah, you can. So it's going to be tough to do, but if you can grab it at the base.
Well, hello.
Fish. If it's, I feel like at this stage you'll end up just grabbing from the head, which will ruin the. So if we could pass on it, it's okay.
Suction it.
Good suction it.
You want to suction it? You get it all.
I could try to just barely tap it. See.
Okay, try to grab it, I guess. Yeah.
Steady now.
Jeremy, what are those blocks on the side of it? What are those blocks on the side of it?
I don't know. Good question.
You zoom up.
Yeah. Oh, you got it. That's pretty good. So this is a living colony. Although it doesn't have color, it does have tissue. It's alive. Yeah, it's a really good pickup. So we could have slurped this up, but sometimes something goes wrong when slurping up the corals where they don't end where you expect them to.
Yeah, hit it.
They don't fall in the right slurp container. Sometimes it just disappears. So if possible, it's nice to physically grab it and put it in one of the bio boxes.
Roger. I'm going to push it, so I'm going to have to move it, right?
Where would you like this, Jeremy?
You can put it in 1A. Is that where this cute thing is?
The what?
The turtle shell thing?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Shell and then 3 and 4.
Oh, it is. Okay. What's in D?
Nothing's in D. Looks like.
D?
Yeah, D's empty.
D's empty.
I can just put it in A.
Okay.
It's all the same. No rocks yet, huh?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Just the biology. So we've had beautiful weather this entire trip, but now we're starting to feel the waves. Just a little bit.
Got 6 feet.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we can start the transect.
14 more corals to go, Jeremy.
Oh, 14 more corals to go. All right.
Okay. Everybody happy?
Yeah.
Okay, lifting off.
All right, so this is the 500 meter transect that we do not stop during, and we stay at a consistent altitude above the seafloor, not moving the camera left and right, not following any fish. No Nautilus. No isopod. And
Jeremy, come right on your camera a little bit. Right there. And then down a touch. Right there. That's it. Alright. Here we go.
here we go. Transect starting?
Begin el transecto.
Thank you.
Oh, you speak Spanish?
Keep up.
Wow. That's an interesting coral. Possibly another Parentopathes.
Bridge,
ROV bridge?
Hey, look how you holding up there.
Yeah, it's heading much better. Might come a few degrees more forward, but it's sitting pretty at the moment.
Beautiful. I just wanted to give you a heads up. We started our 500 meter transect.
Okay.
So I will bring you down the line as needed. I'm going to actually start your waypoint now.
Okay, sounds good.
How far can we go before
It's
we
like a
get
soft
close
coral.
to that little
Stand by.
There's a question, how deep is the coral that's all over? Well, we're at about 375 meters. We've been at, where did we start at? What's that? 400?
Yeah, 420.
Okay. So yeah, we haven't come up that much. And we're seeing, the most common corals we're seeing on this flat surface are these Parentopathes black corals, the Stylopathes black corals. And these are these bottle brush, so branches that go around a singular stem. We see them now on the left. Small colonies generally.
Does the video look good?
Yeah.
ROV bridge?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is I'll put on the
Up the
SH90
group.
and we'll just kind of inch our way closer. If we feel like we're getting too close, then we can let you guys know.
Sounds good, bro.
Yeah, we're not going to set a distance per se, but I think we'll just kind of,
Play
as
there.
we get closer, assess it.
Sounds good. Well,
Okay.
I got an updated waypoint for you, sir.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Luke.
Oh, we see a glass sponge in the bottom of the screen. Get some water.
Wait for the bomb to go up.
It's like the end of the world.
But stay concentrated on the.
Hey, can you do me a huge favor?
Trying to boil it.
Water.
Cold water, medium room temperature water, warm water.
Medium rare.
Medium rare. So bubbles.
No, I don't do that. I'm not that fancy. Cold water.
Alright. Anybody else need anything on wood down there?
Oh, thanks.
Gum? Gum?
Oh, you want some
Massage. Thank you. Thank you. Here for a piece,
lasers there?
They are, yeah, it's very faint.
Okay.
Just in the centre.
Oh yeah. So we're continuing up along our 500 metre transect. Just over 100 metres into that so far, and quite clearly a seabed which is characterised by these shallow, generally circular depressions, sort of little, gives it a pitted appearance. That's likely some of the harder limestone, and they've been filled in with shallow veneer of sand being transported upslope to this location in 350 metres water depth, and a relatively sparse benthic cover. Question on the Facebook feed regarding the scale of the features we're looking at. Just to point that out again for others, we project 2 laser beams onto the seabed, and at this height they're quite faint and perhaps a bit difficult, but they're just below centre of in the image, and they give us a scale of distance of 10 centimetres or 4 inches between the 2 dots. So that gives you a sense. So those small depressions we're flying over at the moment, perhaps 15 to 20 centimetres across on average looking at them. And as we get higher, it appears the sand cover is getting less and less continuous, more and more confined to these little depressions, and of course with that we're getting much more exposed rock as we climb up to 345 metres, and that of course is providing that nice hard substrate for the corals.
Quite a lot of shadow on the right.
All right, is that
It's just the shadow of this big block on the right hand side.
right? Yeah, and then a big sponge by the look of things.
Yeah, big sponge.
Big sponge.
One of these, I think these are rock sponges. So when you pick them up, they're actually really heavy.
Full of water.
And they're full of water. When they
Yeah.
dry out, they become much lighter. But it's what we call rock sponges. And the first time we ever picked them up, they look like bone. They had that bone colour about them too. But no, they're just a sponge. Not just a sponge if you're a sponge expert. Of course, sponges are special, aren't they, Merrick?
Oh, there's a view of our aft camera.
Or as insect.
Oh, that's as an insect. Oh no, it's full.
Yeah, a brief full view of the back deck. Coming up shortly.
Yeah, we're just swapping a view for you to show you. This is
Where we are.
Central Diamond Islet. It's about 1 kilometre away from us. So this is the cam view from one of the cameras around the ship. And so you can see it's a little windy. It's probably around 20 knots at the moment. But between here and the K is a shallow coral reef, and we're working towards it now. So that K itself is not quite 1 kilometre long. It's around about probably 400 or 500 metres long. It's vegetated. It goes up to about 8 metres above sea level, and it is absolutely covered in birds. Some of which are sitting on the mast of the Falkor and leaving their poo everywhere. So you can see these little dots. These are the birds. It's like a halo of birds over this islet, and they use them for nesting and resting, and they feed in the shallow waters around it. So a lot of bird life here, and we're typically talking about frigate birds and boobies, brown boobies, masked boobies, possibly even red-footed boobies. Thanks very much, Vic.
Back underwater.
Yeah, just seems a lot more calmer down here,
That's
doesn't it?
right. We're just dropping down into a bit of a hollow.
It's like a ball. I'm going to change from this sideways like this. You can see it.
So in that camera switch there, we've transitioned off that higher rock outcrop and now dropping down. Where are we at? 347 now.
Yeah, it
just
seems to be, like a slope. I mean, we're just on the edge of one of these ridges.
Have a good lunch, Rob?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, we just went up on the bridge to have a look, see what the conditions are like. It's getting a little windier.
A bit breezier, up to 20 knots more.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think the bridge is pretty happy with the currents right now so far. So far so good with this dive.
Yep.
Need a whip on bridge.
Merci beaucoup.
Coming
Right,
up on the
okay,
left.
some outcrop on the way shortly.
Ganado. Transfers out. To your right.
The sonar showing rocks coming up in front of us here. Looks like
Wow,
one of
quite
these.
an overhang on that
Yeah,
left.
is this one of these rock sponges hanging off the side? Has that kind of look about it? They're very dense. You know, when you pick them up in your hand, what you're picking up is mostly water, just trapped within the fine siliceous internal skeleton. Wow, that's quite a ridge, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Lots of bed forms over the top. Rubble, those rocks have got lots of pits, little cavities in them.
Very pitted.
It's very eroded.
Classic cast.
We have one dive left,
Yeah, that's right, Rob. One more tomorrow
and then that's
at
it.
Lehigh Reef. A couple of soft corals sitting up on the ridge crest here.
And look how all the little cavities in the rocks.
There goes a shrimp, is it? It's a great view right now.
Yeah, nice, very
Coming
nice.
over the crest.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then traversal balance. It's going down again.
Yeah, very cool.
Oh, that's an interesting fish. Didn't get a clear look at it. Wonder if it's one of these hatchet fish. If we've got any fish people watching,
comes
there we
again.
go. Yeah. I wonder if this is a hatchet fish. You know, got this sort of characteristic triangular shape, usually very silvery. But I'm no fish expert, so maybe someone ashore can help us. We've got a lone boulder coming up into view now. You can see it very clearly on the scanning sonar in front of the SuBastian.
Going down.
Some boulders coming up or ahead of us.
Good. Right, it looks like a bit of a pretty steeper face in front of us.
Yeah.
Right now, we've got these big plates of, big sheets of
Just seem to have broken off.
reef material, which is sheared off, slid
Just-
downhill.
Yeah, just lying against the side.
Yeah.
Another one of these rock sponges coming out. They're pretty big, aren't they? Yeah, they just off the
Yeah.
attached to the side. So as far as expedition planning goes, we have one more day planned for Nichol Reef, which is adjacent to us. It's another one of these very large atolls. It's also about 100 kilometres long. So the reef that we're on at the moment, Tregrosse Reefs, or also called Diamond Islets, is about 100 kilometres long. And tomorrow we go to Nichol Reef. That will be our last dive for this expedition. And then we have a long transit to Brisbane. And this is the reason why tomorrow is our last day. And that will put us down at Brisbane this weekend, sort of late on Saturday night, and then we have a pilotage into Brisbane to arrive early Sunday morning. So yes, we have run out of time. One more day left.
One more day.
We'll see what we can find. Speaking of which, this is a fantastic sponge on there.
Yeah, I reckon. That's a
Really,
Monster.
really great. Like big elephant ears. and look, it keeps going on underneath too.
yeah. Wow, keep going. Yeah.
Wow, they are really big. So these are siliceous sponges made from silica that they draw naturally out of the water column and create these really large structures with them. Yeah,
Is this
amazing.
one of these?
We're really at the foot of this slope, actually.
Yeah,
when
it's
you
just
look
gonna
at
go uphill from here.
look at the transect, it should be all steep from here on.
Yeah.
So we'll see this. I think we'll just see this boulder landscape for the remainder of the
I think so.
dive.
Yeah. Halfway on our transect.
Halfway.
Halfway on our 500 metre transect at this point.
Oh, look at this cave coming up here.
Nice.
Yeah. Wow, that really is steep, isn't it?
So that gives you a real sense of how these rock falls can happen. Down on the lower right, there's just a tumble of boulder material.
But everything looks sculpted and eroded. These would have been caves when exposed to the air, and have broken off and now tumbled into these deeper waters.
Nautilus.
Yeah, lots of dark
Dark
things
patches on-
attached to the rock.
Yeah. Are they another sponge or?
Lots of little cup corals all over it.
Ah,
They look sponge-like to me.
from here they do. Going up. This is a vertical face.